Hey Valley Green, I'm here in Center Valley, Upper Saucon Township, and this is your June 2026 market update specifically for Valley Green. If you want to check out my other market updates, you can feel free to go to my main site, nickgsalespa.com. That's going to be an Upper Saucon general market update. And you can also check out my Sunrise Valley site, nickgsalessunrisevalley.com, which will have a Sunrise Valley market update. But this particular update is for Valley Green specifically. So I have my screen shared here with you, and as you can see, there is not much activity in Valley Green going on right now. We really only have one property to discuss. I have the parameter set for activity in the last 30 days. So currently, there's nothing for sale in Valley Green. There's nothing under contract in Valley Green. All we have is one property at 3130 Muirfield Road, which has sold for 685,000 on May 29th of 2026, which was just a few days ago. So let's take a look at this property since it's the only one we have to discuss. So we're going to go to the history here, and I want to go through this with you because it is very important. You're going to see here this house was listed on April 21st as active no showing, which means that it is active on the market, but they're not taking viewing appointments. It's sort of like a pre-launch phase. And then on April 24th, the listing officially went live, went to available. So at that point, you could schedule viewings, you could look at it. And then you're going to notice only 6 days later, April 30th, they were under agreement. And then May 29th, approximately 30 days later, sold. So this was a very clean, straightforward transaction, as you could see. If you look here, you'll see they had multiple offers. So they did put an offer deadline. And this is a really good example of exactly the type of buyer response that you want to generate when you list your house. It sold quickly. They got multiple offers. It sold for over asking. Um, and the reason behind that is because of the launch. It was launched correctly. It was priced right. It generated a strong buyer response for several different reasons. And that is the exact reaction that you want when you list your house for sale. If you watch my Sunrise Valley update for this month, you're going to see sort of the opposite reaction. You're going to see two properties, one which is under contract, one which is temporarily off market. And neither one of those properties generated a really solid buyer response. And that's not what you want. So if you want sort of the comparison between a strong buyer response, which we see here, and a not so strong buyer response, I would recommend watching my Sunrise Valley update. Even though you're not in Sunrise Valley, the two neighborhoods are really closely connected. Obviously, we're right across the street from each other. Similar houses, similar neighborhoods. They are different, which is important to note. They're not exactly the same, but there are a lot of similarities. So you could really draw a parallel from those examples and these examples. There's a lot of crossover. Definitely check that out. I know you're probably wondering, well, 685 sort of sounds a little low for Valley Green. And the truth is that, yeah, this is one of the lower priced houses in Valley Green that has gone recently. The reason being the condition. It really was not in great condition. I showed this particular property. It does need a lot of work. That's why, the price was only 685. But it just goes to show you your house doesn't have to be in excellent condition in order to sell it. You just have to have the right strategy and the right launch. And this property is a really, really good example of exactly the type of buyer response that you want when you list your house. Now, since there really isn't a lot of activity in Valley Green right now, I say this all the time. If you're in Valley Green, you are on prime real estate. Same with Sunrise Valley. Same with, really anywhere in Upper Saucon. But Valley Green is really, really sought after. If you're thinking about selling your house, it's definitely a good time because right now there's not a lot of inventory. There's nothing for sale in Valley Green right now. But do not underestimate the importance of what goes on before the property hits the market. I'm going to keep saying that. If you check out my YouTube video from last week, I talk a lot about Upper Saucon sellers leaving money on the table when they're selling their house. Um, Definitely check that out. And that goes back to buyer response. The two properties in Sunrise Valley that did not generate a good buyer response is a good example of leaving money on the table. If you're not, generating the response that you need to generate, you are leaving money on the table. This particular house, definitely, they did not leave any money on the table. Um, it got a great response, and that's what you want. So definitely check out those other videos. Um, it's really a good time to list in Valley Green if you're thinking about it. If you're not thinking about it, doesn't matter. Check out my website, nickgsellsvalleygreen.com. There's a lot of resources on there for homeowners, whether you're looking to sell or not. Doesn't matter. There's articles, there's tons of resources on there. I'm going to continue posting stuff on there regularly. It'll probably answer a lot of the questions you have before you even ask them. So definitely check that out. It's nickgsellsvalleygreen.com. Check out my main page, nickgsellspa.com. And I will see you back here on July 1st for another update.